Most people chase balance because it sounds peaceful. It sounds like harmony, like having everything in order. Your career, your family, your goals, your peace of mind. But the truth is, life doesn't always give you balance. Sometimes you're going to be out of rhythm. Sometimes you'll be stretched. Sometimes you'll be exhausted. But that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're focused. Because when you're chasing something that matters, when you're building something that carries weight, balance won't be your companion. Focus will. See, purpose will always require something from you. It will pull on your time. It will test your patience. And it will ask questions that comfort can't answer. People will say, you need more balance in your life. But purpose doesn't care about balance. Purpose cares about becoming. And sometimes becoming means giving everything you've got when no one else understands why. Focus doesn't wait for everything to be calm. It stays steady when life gets loud. It knows that true success isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right thing with all your heart. Focus demands sacrifice. You can't build something great and stay comfortable at the same time. You can't be available to everything and everyone and still expect to be excellent. Every person who's achieved something extraordinary had to give something up. Maybe it was sleep. Maybe it was entertainment. Maybe it was people who didn't believe. Sacrifice isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's what molds your character and gives you endurance. Focused people aren't asking, what do I lose? They're asking, what do I gain if I stay locked in? Balance makes you manage your time. Focus makes you invest it. When you know where you're going, distractions lose their voice. Vision makes focus possible. Without vision, you'll chase everything and catch nothing. You'll run after things that sparkle but don't shine. Focus is what happens when you can look at your dream and say, this is where I'm headed, no matter what it costs. The moment you get clear on your purpose, the noise starts to fade. The opinions, the pressure, the comparisons, they lose their power because you know your direction. You're not trying to do what everyone else is doing. You're trying to do what you were created to do. And that's what makes your journey different. The real work, the kind that matters, doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens when nobody's watching. Focus lives in the unseen hours, in the early mornings and late nights, in the discipline that nobody celebrates. While others are chasing attention, the focus stay in alignment. They're not worried about who notices. They're worried about who they're becoming. Because when your moment comes, when the light finally hits your life, it's the unseen work that will hold you up. Balance wants to be comfortable, but focus is willing to be committed. But focus takes more than passion. It takes discipline. Motivation is temporary. It fades with mood and circumstance. Discipline stays when the excitement disappears. Focused people move with intent even when they don't feel inspired. They understand that greatness doesn't wait for a perfect feeling. It's built on consistent action. Every day you show up, you grind, you grow, you repeat. You don't ask, do I feel like it? You ask, what needs to be done? Because discipline builds habits, and habits shape destiny. And if you're going to live with focus, you've got to embrace resistance. Every storm, every setback, every delay, they're all shaping you. Life's pressure doesn't exist to break you, it exists to build you. Focus doesn't run from hard things, it runs through them. Because every challenge is a reminder you're still in the game. You're still becoming who you were meant to be. You might stumble, you might fall, but when you're focused, you don't quit, you adapt, you learn, you rise. Balance might make life look pretty, but focus makes life meaningful. You don't need everything to be even. You need everything to have a reason. Don't chase comfort, chase calling. Don't aim for balance, aim for purpose. Because the people who change the world aren't the ones who do everything. They're the ones who do one thing with everything they've got. Stay focused. Life will always give you moments where you have to choose comfort or calling, ease or effort, preference or purpose. Most people want balance because it feels safe. They want to spread their energy evenly so nothing feels too heavy. But purpose doesn't operate like that. Purpose will always demand more from you than preference is willing to give. Preference wants convenience. Purpose wants commitment. Preference says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Purpose says, I'll do it because it matters. When you're living with purpose, you don't get to choose when it's convenient. You don't get to pick the easy days and skip the hard ones. You show up, tired, uncertain, under pressure, and you give everything you've got because you know what's at stake. That's focus. That's the moment when you stop asking, What do I want right now? And start asking, what am I called to become? There's a difference between liking something and being committed to it. Preference loves when everything feels good. It's emotional. It's fragile. It disappears when life gets uncomfortable. Purpose is steady. It doesn't need applause to keep moving. It doesn't need perfect conditions to stay consistent. Purpose is driven by meaning, not mood. And when you learn to move with purpose instead of preference, you stop chasing balance. Because you understand that growth doesn't live in balance. Growth lives in sacrifice. The people who live with purpose don't need everything to feel fair. They're not looking for a life that's even. They're looking for a life that's effective. They know that every step forward will cost them something: time, comfort, maybe even relationships. But they also know that what they're building is bigger than what they're giving up. Purpose gives pain a reason. It gives struggle a name. It turns hardship into harvest. So when life starts to feel heavy, don't run back to preference. Don't try to make everything comfortable again. Lean into the purpose, because that's where transformation happens. That's where you discover that balance might make life easier. But purpose makes it worth living. ChatGPT said, every great story of success is written with sacrifice. Every person who's ever achieved something meaningful had to give up something valuable along the way. The truth is, focus will always cost you something. You can't be focused and free to do everything at the same time. You can't give your all to your purpose and still hold on to every comfort, every distraction, every easy option. Sacrifice is the price of progress. It's the currency of greatness. Most people want the reward, but not the responsibility. They want the spotlight without the solitude, the victory without the valley. But real strength doesn't come from comfort. It's built in the moments you give up what's easy for what's necessary. Sacrifice is what tests your desire. It asks, how bad do you want it? It separates those who are interested from those who are committed. Because when you're focused, you'll stop saying, I can't, and start saying, it's worth it. See, sacrifice isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's what molds your character. Every time you let go of something small to reach for something greater, you're growing stronger. You're learning to lead yourself. You're training your mind to stay locked in on what matters. The process won't always feel good. It'll stretch you, isolate you, even make you question if it's worth it. But strength is never built in ease. It's built in the fire, in the weight, in the willingness to stay the course when comfort calls your name. Sometimes you'll lose sleep. Sometimes you'll lose people. Sometimes you'll lose moments that others enjoy. But the focused understand everything you give up now is building something later. Sacrifice is the invisible foundation that holds up every visible success. While others chase balance, focused people embrace sacrifice because they know that balance keeps you even, but sacrifice makes you exceptional. There will be days when no one claps for you, when no one understands the grind, when it feels like you're pouring out more than you're receiving. That's the moment you remind yourself, this isn't loss, this is investment. Every hour you give, every comfort you surrender, every distraction you deny. It's all adding up. Sacrifice builds strength because it teaches you that greatness doesn't come from having it all. It comes from giving your all. If you don't know where you're going, every path will look right. That's why so many people feel lost. They're busy, but they're not moving with purpose. Vision is what gives your focus a target. It's what turns activity into progress. Without vision, you'll chase everything and catch nothing. You'll get caught up comparing your journey to someone else's because you never took time to define your own. Vision is what keeps your heart steady when life gets loud. It's the inner compass that points you toward your calling, even when the road gets rough. When you have vision, you stop reacting to everything that happens around you. You start responding with purpose. Distractions lose their voice because you've already decided what matters. You're no longer living by what's urgent. You're living by what's important. That's the power of vision. It gives you direction when motivation fades. It tells you, this is why you started. This is where you're going. Stay the course. But vision isn't something that shows up overnight. It's discovered through reflection, through struggle, through searching for meaning beyond the surface. Sometimes it's born out of pain. Sometimes it comes from failure, because vision often grows in the dark, in the seasons when you can't see the full picture, but you trust there's something bigger at work. And once you catch that vision, it changes everything. You stop chasing validation. You stop trying to impress people. You start aligning every step, every decision, every sacrifice with where you're headed. People without vision get easily distracted because they don't have direction. They confuse movement with progress. They're everywhere but never arriving. Vision-focused people move differently. They don't rush, they don't drift. They walk with clarity. They know that saying yes to one thing means saying no to 10 others, and they're okay with that because their yes is intentional. Vision gives meaning to the mundane. It turns ordinary days into essential steps. You may not be where you want to be yet, but when you've got vision, you understand that every moment, every challenge, every delay is part of the process. You don't give up when it's hard because you can already see what's possible. That's what direction does. It fuels your focus and keeps you steady when the world tries to pull you in 1,000 different ways. The truth is, the work that really changes you, the work that truly prepares you, is the work nobody sees. It's the hours when no one is watching, when there's no recognition, no applause, no spotlight. That's where focus is tested. That's where character is built. Everyone wants to shine on the stage, but few are willing to grind in the shadows. The unseen work is what separates the ones who dream from the ones who do. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, but it's real. It's what turns potential into power. When you're working in silence, doubt will whisper in your ear. You'll ask yourself, does this even matter? Will anyone notice? But that's where you have to remind yourself, you're not doing it for attention. You're doing it for alignment. You're building a foundation that no one else can see, but everyone will one day feel. The unseen hours create the strength that the visible moments demand. Every rep, every study session, every practice, every early morning, it's all adding up. Just because people don't see your progress doesn't mean it isn't happening. Growth often moves quietly. Focus is proven in the unseen work. Because when there's no audience, all that's left is your reason. That's when you find out what you're made of. Will you still show up when it's hard? Will you still give your best when nobody's keeping score? The great ones do. They stay consistent when others quit. They stay patient when others want praise. They understand that what you build in private becomes what you display in public. The unseen work is where your roots grow deep. It's where you develop the strength to stand tall when the spotlight finally finds you. Without those hidden hours, the pressure of success will crush you. You can't skip the unseen work and expect lasting results because the quiet seasons aren't punishment, they're preparation. They're shaping you for what's coming. So, when you find yourself grinding in the dark, remember, that's where champions are made. Stay faithful. Stay focused. You don't need to be seen to be significant. The ones who win are the ones who kept going long before anyone cared because they understood one truth. The work you do when no one's watching is what determines who you become. When everyone is, motivation is a feeling. It's loud, it's exciting, but it's temporary. It comes and goes depending on the mood, the moment, or the outcome. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't wait to feel ready. It doesn't need a crowd. It doesn't need a spark. It just needs a reason. When you live with focus, you can't depend on motivation to carry you. You need discipline to keep you grounded when motivation fades. Because the truth is, the days that shape you most are not the ones when you feel inspired. They're the ones when you don't, and you still show up anyway. Discipline is the difference between interest and commitment. Interest works when it's convenient. Commitment works even when it's uncomfortable. When you're disciplined, you stop chasing the feeling of wanting to do it. You start honoring the responsibility of needing to do it. You move with intent. You wake up early not because you want to, but because your purpose demands it. You keep your promises to yourself even when it's hard. That's what builds confidence, not hype, not emotion, but consistency. Motivation may start the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. Every time you show up on the days you don't feel like it, you strengthen your foundation. You prove to yourself that your purpose is bigger than your emotions. Because emotions change, discipline doesn't. It's steady, it's faithful, it's honest. Discipline doesn't ask, do I feel like it? It asks, is it right? Does it align with who I'm becoming? And once you start living by that standard, everything changes. You stop living by impulse and start living by intention. There will be mornings when you wake up tired, days when you feel like quitting, moments when the dream feels far away. But discipline whispers, keep going. It reminds you that greatness is not built in one big moment. It's built in 1,000 small choices. It's built in the grind, in the repetition, in the ordinary. Balance wants comfort, discipline wants growth. And if you stay faithful to the process, one day the results will speak for you. Motivation might get you started, but it's discipline that finishes the race. It's not about how excited you are in the beginning. It's about how committed you stay until the end. When you live with discipline, you understand that your feelings are visitors, but your purpose is permanent. And when your purpose becomes bigger than your mood, you become unstoppable. Every great journey is marked by resistance. You can't reach purpose without pressure, and you can't grow strength without struggle. The path of focus is not smooth. It's rough, it's uncomfortable, and it's filled with moments that test everything inside you. But resistance isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It reveals who you are when things don't go your way. It exposes the strength you didn't know you had, because resilience isn't built in calm waters. It's forged in the storm. When you face resistance, you're given a choice to retreat or rise. Most people see opposition as a sign to stop. Focused people see it as a sign to push harder. Resistance is proof that you're moving. It means you're stretching, you're growing, you're becoming. Nothing great is ever built in comfort. Every champion, every visionary, every leader had to endure seasons where it felt like nothing was working. But they stayed in the fight because they understood pain is part of the process. It's not there to punish you, it's there to prepare you. Resilience is not about avoiding failure. It's about refusing to be defined by it. You'll face days when you give everything and still fall short. You'll face moments when life hits harder than you expected. But resilience reminds you, this is not the end, it's the shaping. The setback is not final, it's forming something inside you that success never could. Every struggle teaches endurance. Every disappointment builds perspective. Every delay strengthens your faith. When you're focused, you don't allow resistance to break your spirit. You let it refine your focus. You learn to bend without breaking, to hurt without quitting, to fail without losing heart. You start to see obstacles differently, not as roadblocks, but as training grounds. Because the truth is, pressure doesn't create weakness. It reveals the strength that's been waiting to emerge. Resilience is the quiet voice that says, I'll try again tomorrow. It's the courage to stand up one more time after every fall. It's the belief that your purpose is still worth fighting for, even when the fight is hard. Balance wants comfort, but focus embraces resistance because it knows that diamonds are formed under pressure and destiny is shaped through struggle. The road won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it because every ounce of resistance is building the resilience you'll need to carry your purpose all the way to the finish line. Life isn't asking you to be balanced. It's asking you to be focused because balance might make things look neat, but focus makes things meaningful. Balance spreads you thin. Focus makes you sharp. Balance wants everything in control. Focus wants everything with purpose. You can spend your whole life trying to keep things even, or you can decide to give your all to what truly matters. You can chase comfort, or you can chase calling, but you can't have both. The truth is, purpose will stretch you. It will test your patience, your endurance, and your belief in yourself. There will be days when you question if the sacrifice is worth it. There will be moments when you feel unseen, unappreciated, and misunderstood. But remember this, the unseen work is never wasted. The sacrifice is never empty. The resistance is never random. Every long night, every quiet season, every setback, it's all shaping you. It's all building the version of you that can handle the weight of the destiny you've been praying for. Focus teaches you to stop chasing everything that glitters and start investing in what's gold. It reminds you that discipline beats motivation, that sacrifice builds strength, and that purpose will always demand more than preference. You won't always have balance, but you can always have direction. And when you choose to walk in purpose, even the hardest days will serve you. So stop worrying about keeping everything even and start committing to becoming everything you were created to be. Let focus be your fire. Let discipline be your foundation. Let purpose be your guide. Because when it's all said and done, it won't matter if your life was balanced. What will matter is that you gave your best, stayed true to your calling, and left nothing undone. You don't need balance, you need focus. Because focus turns pressure into progress, pain into power, and moments into meaning. Stay focused and watch your purpose unfold.